And this is Sad Lesbian. So today's video is going to be a tad bit different, but it's the same thing you're used to. Today is, ta-da, the last day of me testing content. And from now on, it's going to be business as usual. If you don't know what that means, well, you're just going to have to stick around and find out. And on to the video. If you can tell by the title, this is in fact a lesbian. I don't know if that's important information, but I just thought it was funny. So today I'm going to be designing yet another character for my webcomic, which is in progress. And her name is Pepper, and she is gay. So let's talk a little bit about Pepper. She is one of the mages on the team, as I've previously shown. Melody is also one of the mages on the team. I don't know if I forgot to mention that. And my first speed paint / draw with me video, Damien, he's also a member of said team. They are all members of the same team. I don't know why I was so close to the microphone. I hope this sounds better. Anyways, they're all members of the same mage team, and in this story, the world is ruled by the council and the mages. That's the basic preamble for it. And she is part of mage team, I think 017. That's their mage number code. But a little bit about Pepper. Pepper is a fiery ball of energy. She's extremely energetic and extremely passionate, if her character reference sheet can tell you anything. She's an absolute tough case, and she's actually one of those OCs that has a very tragic backstory. And I'm sorry if you can't handle that, but many of my OCs will have very tragic backstories. The world they live in is not one that is very pleasant to people who are literally just regular people. She is what the society she lives in would call a bastard child and a social reject. She was circled through many orphanages when she was far younger, but fortunately enough for her, she was picked up by her uncle, who took her out of the orphanage and foster care system and took her home. This uncle, who is for the most part unknown in the story, was the person who took her home and picked her up and taught her every single thing he knew about the world, from social circles to society to, of course, the very thing that shapes the world, such as magic. So she calls herself an uncle's girl instead of a daddy's girl because she actually never met her parents and she knows nothing of them, but her uncle was essentially her father. And yeah, so that's just a little fun fact about her. I think now would be a good time to mention that Pepper has terrible abandonment issues. She also is an attention seeker because of her own personal traumas. And though, I mean, it's representative in her design, I tried to make her design as eye-catching and attention-seeking as possible because that's what she is. She tries to get as much attention as possible, even going as far as collecting negative attention just so she can say she has attention. A large part of Pepper's abandonment issues and overwhelming desire to get attention is because, you know, she was tossed around in orphanages a lot, picked up by foster families, dropped off by foster families. She was essentially everyone's unwanted baggage, and she still feels that way in a larger part of her life. And she tries to make up for it by being this overbearing, over attention-seeking individual who does anything and everything she can to stay in people's minds and in people's hearts because she feels that that would be compensation in a way. So it's like, oh, look at me, I'm worth something, like don't throw me away just yet. And that's honestly really relatable. Like now that I'm talking about it, I realize that I feel a lot like Pepper in a way, in a lot of ways, like especially when I'm online, because being online, especially as an artist, is less of a matter of what's the word? It's less of a matter of meaningful conversation and sensible topic. It's more of a matter of how much attention can you get? How many people can you get talking about you? Being an artist online is a lot of feeling like you're a disposable product, and you have to do anything and everything to constantly fight to keep people's minds on you and keep people's attention on you. And the moment you lose that attention and lose that mind space, then you are immediately useless. And I completely relate. And I don't know if you relate, but if you're watching this video, you probably do in some ways. Not even gonna lie to you, I never realized how closely I designed my characters after my own personality traits and in some cases insecurities up until now. That's kind of weird. But at least now you know, Pepper is the world of Akuji's speedster and upcoming mage hero who just wants to hold your attention a little bit longer. And if you manage to get to this point, then I guess you've kind of given her what you wanted, and also me. And looking at Pepper's design, I think it's very obvious that what I was going for is a very conflicted individual who really just wants your attention more than anything else. Her color palette was a bit of a struggle, but when is color palette not a struggle for me? Um, I was having a hard time because I wanted to implement a lot of red motif into her clothing while also giving it a very natural, earthy feel to it. So it was like red and green, but make it cool and super spunky, and I just did not know how to do that. And believe it or not, this is not the first character reference sheet / character design sheet I've ever made of her. So I just took some references from her old design sheet and implemented some of the color motifs from there, which were typically just brown hair, very, very long ears, reddish, grayish color tones in her design, and I just decided to just go ballistic with that. Hey, you still there? Thank you. If you managed to get to this point in the video, what the fuck are you still doing here? Like, why are you here hearing me talk about some tall rabbit lesbian? It's kind of weird, don't you think? But seriously, if you are still here, thank you very much. I love making OCs, if you can't tell by now, and I love talking about them and their backstories. And I have about 3 to 4 more OCs where I'm going to be telling you their detailed backstories before I divulge back into regular speed paints. I'm having a really fun time on this journey with you guys. And there she is, our weird little lesbian. And if you really like her, here's some more people you can look at that are also very, very weird.